Om Shri Sai Ram. My reverential salutations at the divine lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba. Revered elders, fellow trustees, the All India President of the Satya Sai Seva Organization, my fellow devotees, and devotees from all over Swami's world. I bring you greetings and good wishes on the happy and holy day of Guru Purnima. We have just heard Prarthana to the Guru, Gurur Brahma, Guru Vishnuhu, Guru Devo Sanatanaha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Most of us know the meaning of this. It is the adoration of the Guru as the Parabrahman or the ultimate Godhead. He is the Vishnu and he is God for all time to come, Sanatana. He is the very present God, Sakshat. It is not Paroksha, it is right in front of you. Sa Aksha is in front of your eyes. To that Guru I am bowing down. The other prayer also is very beautiful and evocative. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshur unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I am Ajnana, I am enveloped in the darkness of Ajnana. And how do I see light? If you close your eyes and you see darkness, the only way in which you can see light is by opening your eyelids. If you are not able to open your eyelids, then you cannot see light. That great Guru is the one who helps us gently, slowly, by his words, by his actions, to open our eyes. And once we open our eyes, we are able to see beautiful light, and that Ajnana vanishes. That is the second prayer. And I am reminded of a famous doha from Kabir Das ji, which I have referred to on occasions in the past, but today I think it is important for us to remember that as to what Kabir Das ji said about Guru. He said, Sab dharti kagaz karu, lekhani sab ban raay, सात समुंद की मसी करूं गुरु गुण लिखा न जाए. It's a beautiful description, and if one were to sit down to write all the qualities of the Guru, what would you require and still be unable to finish? You make this entire world into paper, you make all the trees into pens, you make all the oceans into ink, and you keep writing and writing and writing. The story of Guru, the Mahima of Guru is never going to end. What a beautiful way of putting it. And we have been so blessed to be in this presence. In these difficult times for the whole world, Swami has blessed all of us to be here in person. In addition, Swami has blessed such a large number of people who are not able to physically come to be here. In fact, I was reminiscing, it was 7 months ago that I last came to Puttaparthi and to Prashanti Nilayam. This has never happened in the last 25 years. I could not miss a weekend visit to Puttaparthi for so many years. And in this last 8 months or so, Swami has said, you do your sadhana wherever you are. And he is prompting us to do that sadhana wherever we are. And by his grace, I must tell you, we have not stopped our sadhana even one day. Every day we are doing our sadhana of bhakti, of learning, of stotras, of reading. We read the entire Ram Katha Raswahini. What a beautiful account of Ramayana. So Swami is telling us, wherever you are, you remember God, you remember me, and do your sadhana. I think that is very, very important. Now, what is the significance of Guru Purnima? Now, Purnima is a full moon day, as we all know. In the lunar calendar month, it shows us that today the moon is its full brightness. Now, moon is something which has an effect on the mind. Chandrama manaso jataha chaksho suryo ajayata. This is what we see here in the Purushutra. So it has an effect on the mind. So on this day, if you worship, and it is also called as Vyasa Purnima. Now, as we all know, Bhagavan Vedavyasa was one of the greatest composers, and he is the one who is accredited with being the author of the 4 Vedas, the Puranas, Mahabharata, and a number of other works. He is the one who digested this entire knowledge of Sanatana Dharma into one place where it is available for us to see. So he was the ultimate guru, and therefore it is also called Vyasa Purnima. In the traditional and the religious mutts that we have and the institutions, the sannyasis who have taken the oath, as we all know, there are 4 stages of life. That is called Chaturvarnyam and Chatur Ashramaha. 4th ashrama is Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and the last one being sannyasa. So the last stage of life is when you renounce everything. If a person renounces, he renounces his family. That is why we often when we refer to some revered sannyasi, we say his Purvashrama, he was so and so. That means before he became a sannyasi, whatever he had, he has completely left it. Therefore, he is no longer connected. In fact, they even leave their family if they have a family. So in this sannyasa ashrama, there are certain vratas that they have to perform, certain rituals have to be performed. And all across, the sannyasis perform what is called as a Chaturmasya. It runs for 2 months. It starts from today with the Sankalpa. And for the next 2 months, very rigorously it is followed, especially in the traditional mutts that I am aware of. The sannyasis are immersed 24 hours into sadhana only. They sleep only 2 or 3 hours. They eat only 1 meal a day. They don't eat anything in the night. They have to chant Bhagavad Gita every day. They have to chant Om 1 lakh times a day. Now just imagine, that means their whole body is completely immersed in the contemplation of the Lord. And if we go and have darshan of such great personalities, Swami is here in front of us. If we come and have his darshan, his radiance is going to flow into us. His blessing is going to come into our hearts. And his benevolent hands are always going to be on top of our head, so that he keeps our head cool and allows us to do the right things. Because in this world, we are always prompted to do wrong things. Swami's hand will gracefully sit on our head and will ensure that we don't do the wrong things. This is the great mahima of this Guru Purnima Vrata that we are going to start from today. On this occasion, I need to speak a little bit about some developments. It is believed that spiritual progress needs the benevolent blessing of the preceptor or guru. He is one who dispels darkness by shedding light. In fact, Swami has often said this, Guru means one who removes darkness by giving light. On this day, we pay obeisance to the Guru and rededicate ourselves to him. Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba is called as the Gurunam Guruhu, or he is the Guru of the Gurus. There is no greater Guru other than Bhagavan. We therefore supplicate ourselves to him and beseech him to guide us on the spiritual path towards God. Now, the spiritual path towards God, how do we achieve God? I would like to quote a beautiful shloka, verse from that famous composition called Shivananda Lahari, and I will explain that briefly. Swarupam tava pujane Shiva Mahadeveti Sankirtane Samipyam Shiva Bhakti Duryajanata Sangatya Sambhashane Salokyam cha Characharatmakatanam Dhyane Bhavani Pate Sayujjam Mama Siddha Matra Bhavati Swamin Kruthartosmyaham. There are 4 levels of reaching God. The first level is Sarupyam. You are looking at God. How can we look at God? What can we do? Only thing we can do is we can worship him, and we can do is Sankirtana. That is what we are all doing here. Swami always emphasizes on Sankirtana. That is the first step. Samipyam. When you come near him, what can you do? You can show bhakti to him. And that bhakti should be firm bhakti. Amele Salokyam. That means you are in his world. in his world, what is it that you can do? Is you can only keep holding his feet and keep chanting his name and calling him Bhavani Pate or whatever God that we think of. Last one is Sayujyam. Sayujyam is a stage when we actually merge in the Lord and we become one with the Lord. And how do we become one with the Lord? Is only by the Lord's grace. And that Lord's grace, for that grace which God is giving us, I am always bowing down and showing my grateful thanks and gratitude to you. This is what one verse of the shloka says. Now, if we bear this in mind, we need to supplicate ourselves daily to Bhagavan and pray to him fervently to allow me to go through these 4 stages and go to the last stage of being Sayujya. Today, with the divine blessings of Swami, it is my pleasant duty to place before Bhagavan and the devotees the background for the formation of Sri Satya Sai Global Council, which was announced on the 23rd of November 2020 at the 95th birthday celebrations of Swami, which was held in the holy precincts in the hallowed abode of Swami. Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba founded and established a service organization for the benefit of humanity. The message that Baba came to deliver is universal. It is based on the 5 cardinal human values, namely Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema and Ahimsa. Though Baba travelled only once outside India to East Africa, his teachings became known in different parts of the world. Baba used many forms of communication with his devotees and followers. Those who came to have his darshan in India were blessed with direct contact at a personal level, at community level, and through public darshan, interaction and discourses delivered by Baba. Millions of Baba's followers benefited by this process in their personal lives. Baba's important teaching was that God is all-pervasive and resides in the human heart. To rediscover Him, it is necessary to engage in selfless service. Among the many paths towards God well recognized in Sanatana Dharma, the path of karma, which includes the path of service, has been emphasized by Bhagavan. To engage in such service activities, one needs to organize oneself, and for this purpose, Baba set up the Seva organizations both at India and international level. Baba played a pivotal role in the functioning of these organizations by laying down clear guidelines, the programs, the rituals, and the manner in which devotees should come together in Sai centers or samitis. The activities of Sai centers and samitis were clearly enunciated with emphasis on morals and ethics. Participation of women and children was encouraged with special programs in order to bring about cohesion and uniformity. Geographical divisions based on countries and regions formed the administrative hierarchy with national presidents and service, spiritual, Mahila and Bal Vikas coordinators. Before the Mahasamadhi of Baba on the 24th of April 2011, the Seva organizations were nurtured and guided by Baba personally. He interacted directly with the president of the All India Seva organization, the state presidents in various states of India, and in international organization with the chairman and several country heads, and guided them in all their activities and blessed their endeavors. The main aim of Seva organization was to inculcate in the devotees a desire to serve as an essential element for spiritual advancement. Service to mankind was elevated to the level of a kind of penance or sadhana. Such service was the bedrock of the Sai organization. Post the Mahasamadhi, Sri Satya Sai Central Trust, which had been set up by Baba, took over the mantle of the responsibility of continuing all activities inspired by him, including the upkeep and running of Prashanti Nilayam. The holy Samadhi of Baba is in Prashanti Nilayam, where devotees continues to throng to pay homage, to pray and to receive his blessings. The Sai organizations are connected to Prashanti Nilayam. The divine guidance which was available in person up to the year 2011 is now sought from the omnipresent spirit of Baba. In the 10 years after Mahasamadhi, the Sai organization continued to keep up the spirit of seva by carrying on activities as per teachings of Baba. Sri Satya Sai Central Trust has been playing a key role and is providing guidance to the national and international Sai organizations. Baba's mission is truly global. In today's world, the values enshrined in Baba's teachings are most relevant. In order to formalize and to provide a firm foundation for continued achievement of the ideals and goals as per the teaching of Sri Satya Sai Baba, the consequent to the recognition of Sri Satya Sai Central Trust by the United Nations by conferring special consultative status, a closer connection to Baba's service organizations in different parts of the world, to Prashanti Nilayam and to Sri Satya Sai Central Trust has become necessary. Towards this end, the trustees of Satya Sai Central Trust deliberated over the matter for a considerable period of time. The All India Seva organizations also faced a similar issue. The All India President, after consultations with senior leaders in the organization and the Central Trust, decided to form a national council as an advisory consultative body to aid and assist the All India President in the discharge of his duties, particularly the selection of office bearers of the Sai organization at all levels, including the All India President, to succeed the present incumbent. In the formation of the National Council, the All India President perceived that association of the Sri Satya Sai Central Trust in the functioning of the Sai organization would be beneficial to all. One representative from the Sri Satya Sai Central Trust was requested to be nominated as a member of the National Council. The Sri Satya Sai Central Trust then nominated one of its trustees, Dr. V. Mohan, to be a member of the National Council. The National Council has been functioning in accordance with its objectives in a smooth and efficient manner, with a lot of synergy that has been generated between the All India Sai organization and the Central Trust. Insofar as the Satya Sai International Organization is concerned, after the Mahasamadhi of Baba, the international organization has been functioning with the present chairman leading it. The relationship between the international organization and the Central Trust was on informal lines. There was no institutional connection between the two. The Central Trust took note of the guidance given by Baba in two discourses, where he categorically mentioned that the International Sai organization must have its connection and base in Prashanti Nilayam and to Central Trust. The office bearers must be appointed from Prashanti Nilayam. Keeping this in mind, the trustees decided to form the Sri Satya Sai Global Council and made the announcement on the 23rd of November 2020 after the same was shared with the chairman of the international organization. In the announcement, it was made clear that the body would be formed after discussion with all concerned by following year's Guru Purnima, that is today. A draft of the document which was to form the basis for the formation of the Global Council was also shared with the International Organization Chair. The Global Council envisages one forum with all three wings of the Sai mission joining, namely the Central Trust, the All India Seva Organization, International Sai Organization. Appreciating the concept and the sentiment behind the Satya Sai Global Council, a large number of Sai centers from all over the world have become members of the Sri Satya Sai Global Council. The All India Sai organization lost no time in joining the Global Council along with Sai centers in India. Thus, more than 90% of the worldwide number of members of the Sai organization have accepted the Satya Sai Global Council without any reservation and have welcomed it. The Sri Satya Sai Global Council envisages a plenary body called the Global Council with membership of all countries which are Sai centers. There will be two executive committees, one for international, one for national, and a permanent secretariat based at Prashanti Nilayam. All the member countries of the Sri Satya Sai Global Council will have an opportunity to interact with the National Organization of India and the Sri Satya Sai Central Trust. The executive committees will manage the administration of the Sai mission in India and abroad. The composition of these executive committees is fairly large. In the Global Council and in the executive committees, only 3 representatives of the Central Trust will be members. All the bodies will take decisions by simple majority. The Central Trust will not have any right of veto. I repeat, the Central Trust will not have any right of veto. Since the formation of the Satya Sai Global Council, many Sai centers, country organizations and others have expressed their willingness and have signed up to be members. Over 800 Sai centers all over the world have joined. Many national organizations have joined. Many regional organizations have joined. Many devotional groups have joined. Many trusts have joined. At present, Sri Satya Sai Global Council is truly a representative body of the entire Sai world in India and abroad, with 1,014 registrations as of now. The Sri Satya Sai Global Council will provide a forum for all Sai organizations to come together, sit together, discuss in a spirit of cooperation, friendship, mutual respect and independence. The object of this body is to unify the entire Sai world so that each will know what the other is doing, and policy decisions can be taken at the level of the Global Council, keeping in mind the particular differences among countries, regions and certain areas which require special treatment due to local conditions and regulations. The spirit of the Global Council is unity, unity, unity. Swami often emphasized the need for one and all to come together and work together in a spirit of harmony, brotherhood, friendship and mutual respect. This is exactly what the Sri Satya Sai Global Council intends to do. I would like to conclude with the assurance that the Sri Satya Sai Global Council will function in a free and fair manner. The Sri Satya Sai Central Trust has no intention or desire to control either the All India Sai organization or the International Sai organization, which is spread all over the world. With these words, I humbly offer this bouquet of Sri Satya Sai Global Council to Swami, with a fervent prayer to bless all participants in the Sri Satya Sai Global Council and all devotees who are attending this function through the modern means of communication, which has become the order of the day for the last 15 months or so due to the ongoing pandemic, which has enveloped the world and threatens to continue disruption of normal life. I pray to Swami to give his divine benediction on this occasion and bless us. I am reminded of a beautiful shloka again from Adi Shankaracharya in Vishnu Shatpadi Stotra. I'll recite it and explain the meaning and conclude. Avinayam apanaya Vishnu damaya manaha shamaya vishaya mrugatrushna bhutadaya vistaraya taraya samsara sagarataya. It's a beautiful prayer. Avinayam apanaya Vishnu, infuse in me humility. Damaya manaha, my mind is jumping around, make it cool, make it calm. Shamaya vishamaya trushnaha, I am after a lot of material things in the world, my desires are limitless. Please reduce those desires, make it shamana, cool, calm. What else should we ask for? Bhutadaya vistaraya taraya. Bhutadaya means love for all living beings. Make it vistara. Make it broad, make it wide. Let my love for human beings, let my love for everything in the world expand. It should be one of expansion, vistara. Taraya samsara sagarataya. Samsara is a sagara, we are all in the boat. Please help me to cross this samsara sagara in this manner. This is my humble prayer to Bhagavan. Jai Sai Ram.